Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. It's a JSL Grand Finals for Season 1. We have a matchup for you tonight between Baxter and Sentinel in a ZVP. Is Gravity, you around, man? You here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Do we have you in chat, by the way?
Hold on, just one sec. Do what? Sorry.
Yeah, do we have you in chat by any chance?
In chat? No,
Or in game? Yeah, we need you in game.
Okay, cool. Let me get out of here.
So guys, in the meantime, we still have about 15 minutes till we start. I just want to go and throw in some facts about these players. We'll go ahead and jump over to Sentinel here, who is a team member of Psionic Aftermath, with a map score coming through the group stages of 6-2 and a set score of 6-1. His map score for the bracket stage has been 6-1 as well. What's with all this Rocket League nonsense on my Spotify today? Get rid of that. Let's leave that on repeat. There we go. So the current win-loss for him, I know there's a typo on these stats here at the bottom of the row there, but the current win-loss for his Zerg is 40%. Overall win-loss is 42%. So he wins about 40% of his games versus Zerg. With his...
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's a little bit lower of a win rate, so I'll have to look and see if, like, how his stats actually line up with the rest of them, but maybe that might be his better matchup.
And being below that 50% means he does have a bit of a challenge ahead of him tonight playing against a Zerg opponent. And speaking of that Zerg opponent, we have some stats here for him as well. Goes by the name of Baxter. He has no team tonight, guys, so he will be representing himself. His map score in the group stage was 7-4 with his set score of 3-4. He did finish in the top 4 and make it through the brackets with an 8-2 record. Now, his current win-loss versus a Protoss is 52%, with his overall win-loss at 53%. Gravity, you have any input on that?
No, I haven't seen Baxter play, so I don't know, like, what his real play style is. I think with the higher percentage, he might be able to have a better, I guess maybe a better chance in this best of 5. But it's going to be too late to see, or too early to see, sorry. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what these two players go for in altogether. And then, see how they adapt to each other's play styles throughout the whole series there.
Now, I'm not sure... I guys would say we don't have the vetoes just yet, but we do have vetoes. We'll get them up for you here in a second. Now, I know both these players are a bit of a macro style. Like, they really like to go stretch the game out to a bit of a later game. You know, Baxter, I do believe he goes for like a Roach Hydra composition a lot. I know he opens up with a Drone Scout. So a lot of cheeky play against Baxter won't exactly make it through the early stages of the game. You know, a lot that early game Worker Scout is usually a key at catching that. So I'm hoping he kind of sticks to his method there and keeps up with that.
Yeah, definitely. I think if he can get in there, scout, see exactly what his opponent's doing, and if Sentinel tries to do anything cheeky, try to proxy anything, if he can get in there and see exactly what's going on, that's really going to help him out. It's going to be interesting to see, too. We've seen Protoss a lot lately trying to do like a pylon block to delay any kind of natural, and we know that both of these players can go into the macro game, so it's going to be interesting to see if he tries to delay any kind of economy coming out from the Zerg, and then also be able to really, push forward and see what kind of comps we have.
Right, and then Sentinel... And the Baxter, let's go back to Baxter real quick. I forgot to move on to this. Baxter, in the semifinals, he played Breakfast Goon, or Breakfast Gone. The way it's pronounced there. You know, it's a very interesting name he has there. But it was a ZVZ. Now, coming out of a ZVZ into a ZVP finals, your mindset is obviously going to change. And luckily, these players have had time to prepare for that situation. Overall, when your win rate is higher than your opponents, that really doesn't mean much. But in the end, it just comes down to how well these two players are going to adapt to one another. Because Baxter, again, his early work against Scout is huge. That means late game, he might drop off in that information gathering department, just be able to stay on top of that. Whereas Sentinel, he has the ability to, sneak them observers across the map, and he does adapt very, very well. In his games versus Reach, Reach opened up with a simple, racks pressure type play.
Mm-hmm.
It's, simple Marine Marauder into his third base. And the first game, it seemed like Sentinel was caught off guard by that. At which point, game 2, he adapted that. He was able to kind of read into his opponent what was going on with the depth scout, I do believe it was. And he was able to pick up and say, "Yeah, I know exactly what you're coming at me with, bro. So we're going to be ready. And, we're just going to sit here and make sure I don't overextend and just make sure my third base gets up and running." And in the end, he was able to outpower and outmacro his opponent because he was able to read into that situation.
Yeah, definitely. I think there might even be some like mind games at play. If they do see, I don't know how much they've studied up on each other, but if they know, both players are good at scouting and good at adapting, maybe if they can throw in some mind games, well, if I can get him to scout this, maybe I can kind of tech around it and just totally counter it. Baxter, if he can get in there with some overlords, maybe see what kind of style is going on from his opponent, adapt, maybe put on some aggression and really just continue any kind of craziness and just really try to fully take that all down.
Yeah, I do feel that's one way Baxter is going to be able to handle taking down his Protoss opponent tonight, is just being super aggressive and not letting Sentinel reach that late game stage where he usually comes out with like a Sentinel. But Sentinel's main unit he likes is his Charge Lot. So you Charge Lot, Archon, Immortal, huge composition, just been around for a while, and it's a really strong composition against Zerg players.
Mm-hmm.
So we are still waiting on map vetoes here.
Okay, I'm gonna grab a drink real quick, okay?
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Okay, so we do have maps up. It's going to be Blackpink, Neon Violet Square, Eastwatch, and Catalyst left for Sentinel as the maps we will be playing tonight. Tonight is a best of 5 match. Actually, we're going to be flipping that by the looks of things. Just reading into the chat here a little bit. Catalyst will be 4. Okay. I'll be closing out. It is a best of 5 matchup tonight, guys, so we will have quite a few games for you. Just hope we don't go out with a quick 3-0. That would just be disappointing, to say the least. But like I said, both these players can adapt very well to different strategies. I mean, Sentinel and Reach, when I watched that matchup, it was a very interesting read into like what Sentinel caught in Game 2. And then Game 3, Reach just completely changed up his strategy and tried for a mind drop. You know what? Sentinel caught it. He was ready for it. And he was completely on top of everything, ready to go. And he handled that drop beautifully. And from there, he was just able to kind of shut down his opponent and take over the game. Now, Reach did late game try to make a very strong push, but the one mistake Reach had is he didn't have any economy rolling behind that, so Sentinel just had to hold on just long enough to clean up the last of that Terran army, and that was it. Now, you still have about another 8 minutes to go, guys. Vetoes are done. So, like Gravity, I'm going to jump over there and grab a drink real quick. Just so that we can be ready to go. So I will be right back with you guys, as well as Gravity. Told you I'd be right back. Anyway. Is he not here yet? Yeah, we're waiting on him to actually log in. So, Gravity, if you're here, man, can you hop into JSL channel, please? So we can shoot you that invite. See if I can track down Gravity here. I got a feeling I know how to do that. So you guys, please just sit back, relax, and we'll be getting this show on the road here very shortly.
Alright, I'm back.
So, hopefully we have some great games tonight. Now, the first map kicking off tonight will be... What was it? Eastwatch, I thought it was? No. Blackpink. So, pretty standard map overall.
Yeah, I like Blackpink. That and like Neon Violet Square. Definitely see a lot of good games off of it. And I feel like with both of these players being more like macro heavy players, I think these will be really good games on these.
Yeah, I say it's a more standard map because it's not going to be like a map like Arena was back in the day, or, you know, like Dash and Terminal. Those maps were very, very awkward. Whereas, you know, just simple macro maps are easy to get a third base on. It's a pretty standard map.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I think it's definitely going to give us a good base of how these players are going to play this season or this series, and really kind of see who has the better macro, maybe who has the better decision making, and then also kind of see how these players are going to fare up with each other, whether they're going to play aggressive or if they're going to go into that standard kind of macro that they like to go into.
Yeah, we have had situations where players that obviously, as we saw, have a very lower win rate. Like, you know, I think Sentinel was 40% versus Zerg. So, you know, he could come back very, very easily and get back into the game after he kind of downloads the information from his opponent, you know, and just kind of figures out the play style.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one thing that's really going to hurt Sentinel is we've seen sometimes he can kind of get into the same kind of build, do the same kind of thing. If Baxter can pick up on that and really adapt, we might see Baxter really just kind of move through and really just kind of dominate this. But if Sentinel can get some good reads, can really adapt and maybe even try something wonky and just not keep it the same, he might have a really good shot in this as well.
Yeah, a correction on the first map is going to be a Biogenesis, by the way, which is a very awkward map, you know, in the ladder.
Yeah, I personally, I like a Biogenesis. I love the layout of the map. It is a smaller map, and there's definitely a quicker rush, so we do see sometimes some crazier plays, sometimes some proxies, and definitely some interesting map plays, I guess, or builds on this. So it's going to be nice. Definitely Zerg can get aggressive, can open up in a more cheesier way on this map, get over there, do some damage, or, you know, at least delay some stuff from the Protoss. The Protoss can definitely get in there, open up, you know, Oracle, which it'll be interesting to see if Sentinel does that. If he opens up Oracle, or if he just goes into like some stalkers into maybe some charge lot or something like that. So it'll be really interesting to see what these players go for on this map.
I'm sure, you know, like you said, it's a very short map. There is ladder. Oh, I'm like lost my train of thought there. Alright, but here we go, guys. Game number 1. It'll be a Biogenesis in a ZVP matchup. Please, guys, if there's any issues with the audio, please give us a yell in the chat. We'll try to get it straightened out. Anywhere in the bottom right-hand corner, spawning it is the orange Protoss pieces from Psi XA in the Psionic Aftermath. He goes by the name of Sentinel.
And in the top left-hand corner, in the yellow, he is the Zerg player. He is Baxter.
Now, I do say Baxter likes to throw out that drone scout really early on. That doesn't mean he's going to, you know, forgo that Overlord scout.
Yeah, I think it's really smart of him to do the Overlord scout and then also go into that drone. The drone is faster, so it will get there earlier. But with the Overlord, you don't have to risk about losing it too quickly, unless he goes into, you know, Stalker or something like that. Alrighty, we do have a scout coming out from Sentinel as well with that probe, just really kind of seeing what is going on. Sees, okay, you don't have your expansion yet, so you went into that hole first, and we may try to get a block here with that probe.
Now, here we got a Jar Scout actually just going out right now. It's also kind of like a small mind game in that sense. Like, you see that drone come down a ramp, and it's like, oh, you're about to expand, right? So the probe gets pulled back down to the natural. At which point, that drone just goes across the map and, you know, gets a full scout off.
Yeah, definitely. Sentinel's got to be thinking, okay, he must be getting cheesy. He must be doing something crazy, going for such a late expansion. But really, yeah, just kind of mind game seeing. I don't see him getting too aggressive at the moment. Maybe he can get some wings. Like I said, go in and do something. But at the moment, no, he's just teching up. And, ooh, nice surround there. Getting that drone. So really kind of denying some scout potential here. So, but he sees exactly what he needs to.
Yeah, one thing I don't think he picked up on, there was no Nexus spotted there. So he does not know about the natural expansion for Sentinel.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to kind of assume it's going to be there at the wall end, so.
Yeah, especially, you know, seeing how late his expansion is himself, you definitely got to feel that the Protoss feels like he's safe enough to go ahead and expand through this. We do have a Stalker on the way here for the Protoss Sentinel, so he will be able to get, you know, a couple Stalkers, maybe even go across, do a little bit of damage. But we do have a couple of Lings coming in as well, try to poke in here, see what they can get done.
I'll keep in mind, this is not a full ball off here, Gravity, so these Lings might actually be able to pick up quite a few probes. Sentinel Stalker does pop out here. Almost gets surrounded. Should be able to clean these up. A little bit of micro, maybe. There we go.
Yeah, this is really nice. He gets the Stalker. That's really nice here with those Zerglings just doing a massive amount of damage here in the early game just with a couple of Zerglings. Now he's working on this pylon. He's actually going to try to deny any kind of thing, and right now this is just looking so bad for Sentinel.
Yeah, the first pylon powering this wall will go down. There isn't a Adept out here now. But this pylon will end up following, unpowering this entire wall. And actually, this Adept is completely out of range. It can't reach her Lings to back here in the natural base. But more Lings poking up at the front are going to get pushed away for now.
Oh yeah, this Adept's going to help out. Doing a really nice job with that wall off. These Zerglings in the natural. Going to go in now and going to start trying to get some more kills here. This is really nice right now from Baxter. This will eventually get cleaned up here with that Adept. Oh. With a second Adept coming in, so it will get cleaned up eventually, but already a great start here for Baxter. Able to get, you know, quite a few drones lost. Let me see here. If I can get it pulled up. He got quite a few amount of drones and was able to, there we go. Okay. He got 6 probes, a Stalker, and a Adept just with the small amount of Lings that he had, so that is not bad at all.
He's not done yet. More Lings coming in, poking at the front here on this robotics facility. If he can get that before the Immortal actually pops out here, that's going to be huge, and that's going to completely open up this wall. These Lings will be able to get in.
He feels so confident right now. He's got that +1 upgrade. He does get the Robo, and this is just huge. He's going to get in here. He's going to get us around here on these probes here and just demolishing everything. And like that, GG will be called, and Baxter will take the first victory. Already receiving an aggression. I think it was just a response to how much damage he got done earlier. So early in that. I think if Sentinel would have microed that Stalker just a little bit, he would have been able to maybe hold off. It wouldn't have had so much damage, but losing that Stalker to 4 lings and also losing, 6 probes and then the Adept as well. Oh man, that was just so good.
That was a lot of damage that got done right there at the start of the game as well. Like I said, that drone scout really kind of sealed the deal a little bit. Like, he saw everything sitting at the front, which means a lot of that tech is going to be vulnerable from any kind of pressure.
Yeah.
And behind that, he was teching up to that +1 melee as well. So, like, as soon as that +1 kicked in, there wasn't really anything Sentinel was going to be able to do to hold on there.
No, I mean, he might have been able to use that one Adept that he had in the natural, maybe to kind of help a little bit. But yeah, with that +1 being almost basically done as soon as he was in there, it just wasn't too good. I think, I don't know, it's just, it's so crazy with Protoss and how they're just trying to stop from those kind of floods happening. Putting all of that tech on the lower ground, it does definitely open up for some more aggressive and stuff like that. So it's one of those crazy things, but we'll get into this next one here.
Yeah, especially the biogenesis of all maps anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Spawning to the bottom left-hand corner as we travel to Eastwatch. The orange Protoss piece is currently down 1-0 in this series. He goes by the name of Sentinel from PsyX.
And in the top right-hand corner, looking so strong in that first map. Will he keep this up? He is the yellow Zerg player. He is Baxter.
It's interesting. When I usually see Baxter, I don't see him with a team.
Yeah, I've seen some of his. Like, I kind of had seen like his semi. I knew he was with Just X. I haven't ever seen Just X before, so to me they're a little bit newer. Maybe they've been around for a while, so. Nice to be able to rep that, but yeah, you don't really. I haven't heard of, I guess Just X before, so kind of interesting and nice to see that they are in the finals here. So
yeah, and like I said, as usual, Baxter going to go ahead and get that drone scout out across the map. Now Probius does poke in over here as well. He is going to get over here to see if there is a natural expansion down a little bit quicker this time. No spawning pull first. Also, the fact he's going to go check for that third base as well, make sure there's no sneaky third.
yeah, I feel maybe that last map Sentinel may have misread the situation with Baxter kind of getting aggressive. And like I said, I think it had a lot to do with just how much damage he got done initially. He kind of was like, okay, I can just go ahead and finish this now.
Nice little gas block there on that extractor to try to keep that drone alive. But, Sentinel on top of the game there, make sure that gas does not get stolen. It's always really annoying when your gas gets stolen like that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You sit there, you're wanting to get, you have a build in mind. You're like, okay, I need to get my extra gas at this point. And whenever they come in, they delay that. It's really annoying. It pushes your build back just a little bit. Sometimes you have to make a little bit of a tweak or not be able to push with as strong as a force as you want to. So definitely is annoying when that happens, but as the player that does it, it kind of helps you. It helps you get out, whatever you need a little bit quicker there. So
we do have an evolution chamber get ready to finish up there for Baxter. Now Baxter, that does allow him to go into some Overlord drops.
Yeah, I think this is definitely what he is going to do. This is something that's really popular, especially on this map with how big it is. And Protoss building all their units down in their natural to try to stop the wing flood from coming at the front. A lot of times they don't think that it's going to come in through the natural. And with this Overlord drop, until it gets put into the lair, we have it to where now he can just go in here, be aggressive, and we see that already. He's got the Evo chamber, he's got the +1 melee upgrades. We should start seeing this Overlord here on the side actually like morphing into a drop lord and really just doing some crazy damage.
However, Sentinel is on top of that here. He is looking around, making sure there's nothing going on. But one thing I would like to see him do right now is throw down a pylon over here by the, the Reaper jump up on that side of the base there.
Yeah, I mean, on this map, you definitely want to have, an awareness of what's going on in your base. You can scout around with a probe, but if you don't see, in your opponent's base what's going on, or be able to see what's even happening in your own base, definitely won't be able to. He has seen that there is the Evo chamber and stuff, so he should be kind of wary of this happening. So
yeah, I do know they were going to move the Overlord drop up to requiring a lair. I'm not sure if that actually was in play yet or not.
No, it hasn't been updated. I think it goes like within the next couple of weeks. Is when they're gonna the next big patch is when it's gonna come in. But right now it's kind of in a testing phase. But definitely it will change. It is gonna lose a little bit of this aggressiveness early, but with some of the Zerglings or Zerg players right now, they a lot of times will go into the early layer anyways when they go like Lean Bane or Lean Hydra. So it pushes it back just a little bit, but I think it'll still have the same kind of potency that it did.
Yeah, this is actually going to be a really scary situation for Sentinel here, as these Lings are going to jump in here with +1 melee.
Yeah, and he doesn't see the Sentinel does have additional gateways on the way, but he doesn't see it. And now the Lings are going to rush in here and going to be able to start actually trying to get some damage. He does have an Immortal and a Stalker, but ooh, this is going to be really bad. It might actually clean this up, though.
You should be able to clean this up. These things are going to have to rotate out of here, so...
Yeah. 8 probes already gone down.
There's a hole in the wall. Gravity, there's a hole in the wall without a depth right there. These Lings are going to get trapped, but that hole is now revealed.
Yeah, he's definitely got to make sure he's pushing up, he's doing something, but right now we have a counterattack coming out from Sentinel. Losing those 8 probes, he's got to do something, but already it's seen and known from the Zerg player. Baxter already prepared for this. He's got so many Lings, and he can actually just go across and just kill him. There's just not a whole lot going to be at home. As long as he can defend this, this is going to be really good.
Yeah, Sentinel's actually moving out with a Warp Prism to that third base location that just finished up. But yet, is it going to be enough? I mean, you knock down a third base, you get rid of some larvae, you get rid of some economic advantage there for the Zerg, but at this point in time... Actually, here we go. Baxter's actually going to come back and defend this location.
Yeah, I think this is really smart, because if he's not able to do enough damage against his opponent, he's going to be behind, especially with that third down now. He's got to do some damage, but nice pickups here with the Warp Prism there. Really, this Immortal's got to do some damage. He's got to protect this Immortal, make sure he doesn't lose it. It's already starting to get low. He's got to be careful. These Zealots are going to morph in as well, and will eventually clean up these. And the Hydras are here as well.
Yeah, this Warp Prism needs to...
that Immortal, and that's really bad for him right now.
Yeah, this Warp Prism needs to get on out of here before these Hydras do pick it off, because that would be a very detrimental loss at this point in time.
Now, Sentinel right now, he feels like he's got to do more because of how much he's lost. Really, he needs to go back home. He needs to defend, especially with this counterattack coming through. This is just going to be so devastating to him because he has, an Adept and a Stalker. That's not going to do nothing against this massive 1/1 or +1 Lings. Okay.
Actually, he's going to come back and keep defending. I kind of like that decision, but at the same time, you're now on equal base against your Protoss opponent who has his Warp Prism across the map. Which means he is going to be able to reinforce this location a lot quicker. Now, the Hydra's get on top of his Warp Prism. That is going to stop this aggression now. But GG going to get called out.
GG. Yeah, he did. I like that he came back and defended. I feel like if he would have went and attacked either way, it would have forced the Protoss player back or would have forced some kind of base trade, but the Zerg would have... I think the Zerg would have won. There wasn't a whole lot there to defend. Would have been able to do really good there, so GG.
Yeah, GG indeed. Now, there was still that hole back home for Protoss on that map, by the way. But what a depth is that. It was actually really interesting to see, because it looks like you have enough space to wall that off, but then there's just always that one room, one spot that the Link gets in.
Well, the thing is, too, is it seems like, I don't know if Baxter realized it. Maybe he did, but when we saw him initially going for that counterattack before the Protoss went for the third, he was still going to that drop spot. Like, he was needing to get into the main instead of going through the front. Maybe he just wanted to make sure he got in there, but Still a good decision there to really just kind of shut everything down. Protoss just wasn't able to come back from that.
Yeah, here we go, guys. We are now going into game number 3, which means Sentinel is on elimination point here. Can he hold on and tie the series up and bring it back to maybe a game 4? I mean, extend the series a little bit. Or is this going to be that quick 3-0 that I mentioned earlier?
Yeah, what we know, Baxter, he's done different builds each time. I like that Sentinel, he is scouting. I think he's just misreading the situations just a little bit. And so he's not prepared for these. And so Baxter just able to get in, do a little bit of damage, and then really just, after that, just kind of snowball. So I like that Sentinel tried to, try to do some damage and try to keep the Zerg at home, but unfortunately he just wasn't able to pull it off there. So
here we go, guys. Spawning into the top right-hand corner of Black-Pink LE. The orange Protoss pieces. He needs your support to come back here. He goes by the name of Sentinel. Psyx.
And in the bottom left-hand corner, in the yellow, he has been on fire this whole series. He is Baxter.
Now, Black-Pink is a map that should be a little bit easier for Protoss to manage. Eastwatch is very big, which means Zerg has a lot of room to breathe. But, Black-Pink is one of those maps that everything is just kind of like right up the middle of the map. It's a very open map.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing with Black-Pink is it has all these different, like, heights and lows and valleys, or whatever you want to call it, to where you can definitely try to take a high ground fight. But you also have to be careful that if you push forward, then your opponent can get that high ground advantage as well. So it's definitely very interesting, this map, but I think it will be pretty good. I think Sentinel can open up safely, get an expansion going, and then maybe go into something crazy. He needs to do something, but just sitting here and just kind of doing the same thing, it's not going to work for him, especially with Baxter actually kind of playing, I guess, more aggressive in this series.
Yeah, like I said, every time he comes out here with the drone scout, once Baxter sees the wall off, he kind of has an idea of what he can do. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Baxter goes for a link drop again here. With how popular it is right now against Protoss, and the only option Protoss really has to deal with it is a Stargate.
Yeah, I think Sentinel, he actually, I think with this probe on the third, if he could proxy something there, maybe a Stargate, maybe do something crazy, I think he could actually, do fairly well. Throw off Baxter a little bit, maybe try to get some damage done. But as I say that, he's just, trying to make sure that third gets delayed if he goes to the quick and going into the stalkers. So
yeah, this time he did pick up his second gas a little bit quicker than on Eastwatch, which means Baxter isn't going to be able to get over here and try and deny that. He does lose that drone, but he does get the full scout off on exactly what his opponent has going on. Now we do have the stalker popping out here. Going to help wall that off a bit. Needs to go ahead and finish off that wall off, but anyway. On the other side of the map, Proby is going to make his way back around and get in here and poke in to see exactly what his opponent is up to. Going to get caught by some lings.
Yeah, will he actually kind of scout what's going on? Well, there's not a whole lot going on.
Yeah, it's one thing with Zerg is like you can never really get a full scout off after your initial scout, because it's like you have lings out that's going to deny, you got queens out that are going to deny anything. But in the end, Zerg's got to go up to Hydra Tech sometime.
Yeah, and it seems like Baxter, he's really been going into this like lean Hydra. First game, he really didn't. It wasn't long enough for him to get into the Hydra, but he definitely was setting himself up for something like that. So very interesting. We do have an attack coming in here though on the natural on this gateway. The stalker just sitting there, not really doing much. We'll eventually start attacking on these in a nice kind of block, making sure none of this happens. But again, we have this quick robo coming out, and he probably will get the immortals. He wants to do these like warp prism harass, but I think right now with Baxter's playstyle, it's just not what he needs. He needs to be, teching into something else, maybe going into something even crazier, maybe some like the glaive to depths or something, into maybe charge a lot Archon or something.
Yeah, like I said, I would like to see him kind of open up with his Stargate a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just that Sentinel style. Like I say, he likes his charge lots, he likes his Archons.
Yeah, and the thing too is like Sentinel right now, he's really not putting on any aggression, which is really just letting Baxter drone up, be able to get the tech that he wants, and then just really kind of control the game how he wants to. We do have a probe coming in. Is going to scout that there is a third base coming, but that's about all he's going to get. Going to get wrapped around here and just get shut down. And he won't be able to see that there's a Hydralisk and he won't be able to see +1 being researched. So right now, Sentinel's really in the dark. There's not a whole lot that he sees, and he's just waiting for this Warp Prism to be able to do any kind of attack, any kind of pressure.
Yeah, something I'm actually really surprised to see out of Sentinel right now is the fact that he hasn't gone for an Observer or anything first before going to this Warp Prism. Because in his games versus Reach, that's what really saved him in game number 3. Because if that drop, or the Widowmine drop, would have got in from Breach, he'd done any actual damage, it would have really disrupted Sentinel's play. But he got the Observer out and was able to scout it. But now he kind of forgoes that here and decides to go for the Warp Prism first. Just something I really just don't like to see out of that, or out of Sentinel right now.
No, especially with these Hydras already popped out, 5 more getting ready to pop now. This, pressure isn't going to do, much, if anything. Right now, he does have where just now Baxter will be able to see it, and he should be able to start preparing for it. Okay, I don't think he actually saw it, but his Overlord saw it, so he might be able to do something there. But I like that, behind this Sentinel does take his third, and, he's going to try to build up from this, but if this attack doesn't do what it needs to, this could be very dangerous.
Yeah, this is actually going to be a really scary fight, actually. This is a huge Protoss army coming in here. There's force fields that will be able to be thrown down to block out this army who need to rise.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if he just blocks this army off and gets a third, then recalls out, he's already done the damage he needs to actually get anywhere in this game. But these Hydras pushing this army back off the creek now, away from that third base, back towards that Warp Prism. Here we go, Link's going to wrap around from that back to actually catch the last of these Stalkers and clean up the last of his army.
Just getting a wrap around there on those Stalkers and just able to take those out. More depths do get morphed in here, and that Mortal was so pivotal for this is just shut down, and it's going to force us back. Warp Prism going to be sent home. He did get 9 drone kills, which is nice, but still, he's so far behind. With his third just now done, and with Baxter's already been done and really been mining, he's just so far behind right now, and we even have a counterattack coming across now for Baxter. He just knows he's in a good position for this.
I was going to say, Gravity, you know what's better than 9 drone kills? 9 drone kills and a third base.
Yeah.
Which we didn't see the force fields come out to help him secure that, so...
No, he ended up using that, force, whatever. I forget what they call it.
The Guardian Shield or whatever.
Guardian Shield, yeah. He used that instead. I think if he would have zoned out the army, he would have had a better chance. But now he's going to lose his third. The Adept's going to have to go into the natural and just really try to bunker up from this. Getting that kill
There's nothing on the production tab.
Is just so huge right now.
Is that what you're doing? Don't shade out for this!
Oh.
He's going to shade into this army. And this Hydra's in position here. More Hydras streaming across the map. More Lings as well. This might be the end of our Protoss player, man. He's actually really knocking on the front door now.
Yeah, with the +1 on both of those Lings and those Hydras, they're just doing so much damage. These Adepts, though, trying to do what they can. They might actually be able to kind of push this back for the moment, but all of them are so low, and there's the wraparound there with the Lings. Going to get on top of this, and there is just nothing here to defend. He is going to warp in a couple more units here, but there's just not enough here, and that is going to be the GG, and Baxter will take the victory.
With a quick 3-0, no less. I mean, like I said, there was nothing on the production tab there. Nothing for Sentinel. Like, no Immortals were on the production tab. He's just relying on Warp-ins to try and keep him alive. And you can always tell when a Protoss player just gives up, and that's usually when they just, here's some more depths. I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think if he would have opened up Stargate, or if he would have done something else besides just the Immortal, because Baxter was just so ready for it. It was just like he knew, okay, he's been going this same kind of build, was just able to adapt and knew exactly how to defend it. He felt comfortable getting his third, getting all of those other things, and just crazy.
Yeah, and in the end, Baxter just being allowed to tech up like that. Like I said, if Sentinel would have just thrown down the force fields going and got to third base and then recalled out, he would have kept his army alive and had a lot more to deal with any kind of counter aggression. And I'm not sure if it was nerves that were really just affecting him, like his finals after a long season, and you're just trying to figure out how to take down at least one game off your opponent, and you just don't think of things like that.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing too was Sentinel really didn't try to pressure really. I mean, he had his little timing push that he did, but there wasn't any harass involved. It was just scout in. Okay, I know what you're doing. I'm just gonna do this, and it wasn't no Oracle try to get a couple of drone kills, maybe stasis ward. There wasn't any kind of a couple adepts go in, try to get a couple of kills, anything like that. So it really just allowed Baxter to tech up, to get those drones, and if he wanted to be aggressive, he could be aggressive. And there just wasn't a whole lot there. And with him getting those upgrades so early, because Sentinel wasn't getting upgrades, he was just going into, a couple of gateways, the Robo, and so he really just didn't have that. So it was just kind of there was just a couple of things in it. It could have been nerves too, I think. I mean, like you said, with it being finals, you're sometimes you get nervous. It's just part of it, but
yeah, that winds up affecting your rhythm as you keep going there. And like I said, game 3, he started to look a little more stable. I will say that much. But in the end, he just didn't handle that aggression he threw out there right. And in the end, I think that's what really caught him off guard. Is once he lost that army, he didn't know what to do.
Yeah, and he was, at the times, he was so focused on trying to do good, but Baxter was able to just wrap around his army with those lings, and then he wasn't microing his immortal back really. If his immortal could have saved him many times, but he just let it die. I mean, instead of picking it up, throwing it back, because his immortal in those pressures was the big damage dealer. If he would have kept that alive, he would have had a way better shot, maybe got a little bit more kills, but unfortunately he just kind of threw it in there, was hoping that it'd be enough. And with the Guardian shields, I think that was the wrong move too. I think he should have been using the force fields and stuff like that. Like I said, zone out this army and then just be able to start picking stuff off instead of worrying about the damage reduction there. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, if you would have got that third base, you knocked down the economy of the Zerg back to 2 base, which puts you ahead on the base now, which now puts the Zerg also in a tighter situation of he needs to find a way back into the game, because at that point, if you're on a 2 base Zerg, your opponent's ahead of you on base count, it's not a very good day for a Zerg player.
Yeah, it was even with that, even after that engagement, he got 9 drone kills, but his opponent was still ahead 10 drones. So it was
yeah, so he was just able to bounce right back, and it didn't really matter. So like I said, the correct move there would have been for Sentinel to force field off the ramp, get to third base, and recall out. Because if he recalls out, he's done what Protoss players everywhere are doing right now. You walk in, sniper base, leave. Well, I've just dealt some economy damage to you, and now I also keep my army alive.
Yeah.
So, I can now just continue to grow bigger and bigger and snowball the game back in my favor. But after he lost that army, he just went and completely broke down and just well, I don't have anything here. Here's some adepts against these Hydras. That works, but you don't have resonating glaives. You didn't have +1 melee or ground weapons at all. So in the end, you're fighting into a 1-1-1 army with nothing. It's
yeah. It was crazy, but very well done there from Baxter, able to get the win there, and is the finals winner there for the JSL. So congratulations, and Sentinel will be able to get to the finals himself. That's a big feat in itself, even though he takes second place. That's still really good and an amazing time there. So
I'm not gonna lie, both players played very solid coming through the bracket stages. I do believe Sentinel lost 1 game, and that was in semis. It was a best of 3 there, and they went to game 3. But after that, he basically 2-0'd his way through the brackets. But once he came up against Baxter, it's this is a totally different story.
Yeah, definitely.
But yes, congratulations to Baxter on a quick 3-0 victory. And the best of 5 for the JSL Grand Finals. And guys, that concludes season number 1. I do believe season 2 is around the corner as well, so we will be back very soon, I would imagine, after we get, some rough edges sorted out. We can go right back in and start up season 2. Gravity, it's been a pleasure, man. It's always fun to cast with you.
Oh yeah, I always love getting the cast with you. Always have a good time, and it's always good to have some good StarCraft action and
Always.
see some really good stuff. So, hopefully it's not too long before we get to cast together again.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
So,
But guys, thanks for tuning in for tonight as well. And in the end, we'll see you guys in the next one.
in the next season.